is incredible, especially the two-wheeler space and now the three-wheeler space. But when it comes to charging, there is still the anxiety, what we call the range anxiety, that you are not sure that you will get an opportunity to charge when you need to charge. Now, charging can happen even at your home. So whether we are fueling molecules, which is petroleum, or electrons, which is electricity, we need to be in that conversation. My name is Njogu, convener of the AfriFueling Expo, a platform that seeks to elevate the fueling sector. Nothing runs if you do not have fuel. So generally where we are with EV, electric mobility in Kenya is that, one, we have probably slightly over 35,000 units. And these are comprised between motorcycles and vehicles. I think the buses plus the vehicles have not yet reached 1,000. But you can tell it's growing. The growth is incredible, especially in the two-wheeler space. And now the three-wheeler space. I'm sure you have seen the tuk-tuks, and it's incredible what's happening there. Another thing around e-mobility is that the government has created what you call an EV tariff, where you pay half at night when you're charging at night. So first of all, there's an EV tariff, which is very affordable, but then at night it halves just to encourage night charging. So you can say the regulatory side, the legal side, and I think the latest is the government policy where the president pronounced himself that 100,000 vehicles are going to come in, pure EV vehicles are going to be duty free. So we are seeing also companies like the assembling manufacturers setting up shop. We have in Mombasa, we have in Thika, we have now in Naivasha. So I can say that generally what's happening, it's an industry that is setting up to go. That is on the production of the vehicles. On the other side is the charging side. We have companies like Evo Network, EV Open Network, which seeks to deploy the largest open network for DC fast chargers. That is in the works. I know we have a plethora of charging companies that are deployed in malls. Some of the petrol stations already have charging units. And of course, we have companies like Basigo, who are already running the full integrated business where you have the buses and you have the charging network. So you can say, especially in Nairobi, that EV is beginning to emerge as a contender or as a solution that can be embraced and as well as that can scale. So what is driving electric mobility in Africa? The first thing I would say is Africa has for the longest time been a net importer of petroleum products. So you're finding governments looking at it as a risk profile, and they're saying nobody can close the sun, so nobody can close the power you're generating in your country. So if you can move your transportation to use clean energy, then that reduces your reliance on foreign currency, because all petroleum products are purchased in dollars. And now you reduce that exposure, which usually impacts companies or countries, rather, economies, and also to avoid a lot of geopolitical exposure. So what is driving it is, first of all, government incentives. So governments are there saying, look, we are going to remove taxes. Like in Kenya, you have removal of VAT on buses and e-mobility and e-bikes. You have the duty-free waiver for the first 100,000 vehicles. In Ethiopia, you have a complete ban on importation of internal combustion vehicles. In Rwanda, you have a complete ban on two-wheelers which are not EVs. So you can see that government is driving the adoption. But number two, I think consumer demand. Of course, that is curtailed because we are yet to deploy large infrastructure that allows for consumers to feel comfortable owning an EV, but you can see that there's already a demand. And finally, I think what's driving that is China. They are able to deliver very good solutions at very affordable prices, and Africa is a price-sensitive market. I think the biggest challenge that is slowing EV adoption is lack of charging networks. So we do not have, if you look at petroleum, we have over 5,800 stations across Kenya. If you look at Uganda, you have over 2,600. If you look at Tanzania, you are over 3,500. So you can see, if you're talking about reliability of the petroleum network, it's large. It's reliable, it's been there for decades, you can plan around it. But when it comes to charging, there is still the anxiety, you know, what we call the range anxiety, that you are not sure that you will get an opportunity to charge when you need to charge. And I think that is the biggest problem that is keeping people from transitioning or even purchasing pure EV vehicles. I think the opportunities, especially coming from my background, where we are in the petroleum space, especially on the retail, is to see how then do we use already owned assets to provide these charging networks. So I think the opportunity is sitting pretty smart with the existing fuel infrastructure, but then they need to change to become energy hubs, where they're able to integrate charging solutions at the petrol stations that exist already. Also, I think it's also going to be a real estate game where if you are in any real estate, now you can mount a charge because electricity is deployed beyond petrol stations. So the opportunity is not only now locked with just petrol stations. Like we are coming from a history where if you own a vehicle, you cannot own a petrol station. You have to have it nearby you for you to fuel. Now, charging can happen even at your home. So it's going to be interesting. How do we quickly innovate and create that infrastructure? So the opportunity is still around infrastructure investment. The reason why the EV conversation is very important in AfriFueling, and you'll realize even the choice of our name is fueling. So whether we are fueling molecules, which is petroleum, or electrons, which is electricity, we are looking at how do we deliver energy when consumers need it. And one of the discussions we want to sensitize the industry is, look, don't be tied to one form of energy. You should be able to meet the changing demands of clients and still be able to deliver energy to them, even if it is not coming from the ground, and now it's coming from overhead. So that's why that conversation is very vital, to sensitize the industry that, look, we are moving into a different space where mobility will be powered not just by petroleum, but also by electrons, and you need to be in that conversation.